For those that don't know, Merijn is a natural, I guess, bodybuilder. He does compete in physique shows. And in the past, he had gotten, it started ultimately with him getting his testosterone levels checked. So similar to my story and yours, of course, getting yourself quantified. He ended up finding, oh, my testosterone is not where it could be. And reasons for that, dude, you just dieted off of dieted your ass off for a bodybuilding show, probably going down to like 5% body fat. And I'll find a picture here of him so people can take a look. But I'd say, yeah, he's definitely at his genetic potential naturally. And that's awesome. I mean, at what point do you feel like you have to really go farther? That's up to you, but it depends on your values. And ultimately, are you satisfied with yourself, and do you accept yourself where you're at and don't feel like you have to add exogenous shit? So ultimately, I think he was sold this by people he surrounded himself with. And of course, there is the kind of the expectations of other people that's projected onto you. It's a big deal. Like so many people projecting, oh, this guy needs to look like this or that, or why aren't you improving year to year? Like, what's going on? And this kind of gets to the heart of why a lot of people aren't actually open and transparent with what they're doing, because this is the fake natty insurgency of people that just say they're natural, but in reality they're taking shit, and they do it because they know, oh, if someone is looking up to me in this way because I'm quote unquote viewed as a natural, then they're more willing to buy programs and all that. So I believe at this point most people aren't dumb, but when TRT, like the TRT train came around like last year, so many people were talking about it, and I think he really bought into that hype. And he sold the things that so many doctors speak of. They end up saying, hey, this will really help you in XYZ. It'll help you train better. It'll help you feel better while you're training. And this is a medical solution. We aren't going to pump you full of like unnatural testosterone levels. We're just trying to get you to a good baseline. And that's what they tell you. So even someone like Merijn, who I think does have really good values, he said, yeah, this is really to get me to the natural testosterone levels. So in his mind, it was within his values to do so because he's not blasting testosterone. But in this this video, of course, that I've got queued up for us, he's talking about why he's choosing to get off of testosterone and stop taking it, stop taking TRT and doing all the unnatural shit. So I've not actually seen this, but we may skim through it a little bit. We'll just see how the pacing goes. And
all right, guys,
here we go.
A lot to talk about today. I want to talk about something important, and this is the most important thing I want to talk about. That's why I want this to be my first video coming back and talking to you guys, because I decided to quit testosterone, TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, as many of you guys know, which I started, right now it's about 1.5 years ago. Today I'm going to talk about why it was a mistake, why I decided to do it back then, what my thoughts about it now, how I'm feeling, how I'm recovering. I started making YouTube videos, and I started to get into the fitness game, and I built a really big name for myself internationally. Hours is not necessarily a problem, but I was putting a lot of hours into things that I didn't necessarily want to be doing, or hormone replacement therapy in order to fix the problem. You know, I just didn't want to like be stuck somewhere, and that same feeling of being stuck somewhere, same thing happened with training, because I was training for 10 years. I hit my natural limit. Some people will say like, no, you didn't hit it. I was, if I hit it or not, I was certainly freaking close, you know? And you can see that by all the times I was cutting down the last couple of years, 2 to 3 years. I was always looking sort of the same, you know? I wasn't really making gains anymore. I was certainly trying, wasn't really making gains anymore. And to me, it was like, this is my job. So you have to realize that, you know, next to all the incentives of like, you know, I want my mood to be great, because that's, you know, what I heard from other people that were doing testosterone replacement therapy. Also, like, I don't recommend this to you guys. You have to realize that I'm making a lot of money with this, you know. Hollywood actors, this is how I convince myself. Hollywood actors also, you know, they take steroids before a movie role because they get paid a lot of money, you know, millions. And so that's sort of how I was talking it right for myself, but it wasn't right, you know. And now afterwards, my eyes are open and I can see that. But you know, it took me over a year and a burnout to make that realization. So those were the reasons why I started back then. Now, what is the problem? The product came a bit later. So when I started taking it, I thought that was right. I thought it was right thing to do. And yes, for a bit, it solved the problems that I had, but it didn't solve the underlying problems, which is what I figured out over a year later. It solved the problems of, having less energy and feeling depressed, and it solved those things for a little bit. I started feeling, more energy. I could sleep less, so I could work more, and this is where the problem started, I could sleep less, I had more energy, I could work more, and I started to work even more, even though...
Wow. Well, pause it there a little bit so we can
Not ideal.
talk.
Unwrap it so far.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I didn't know what direction he was going to go with and talk about why. But I think he's definitely hit the nail on the head, because this is what you and we tell people. But you think that putting a Band-Aid on that fact, something that naturally led you to this problem, has some solution that's not also natural? Like, there's something you're not acknowledging here. I mean, that's exactly what it is. And he put the nail right on the head even right now. His thing was definitely his cortisol as a huge issue for him. And even when he was burning that testosterone that was synthetically injected into him, he still had the issue of his cortisol. And of course, him overtraining to get and maintain like 5% body fat, that's very stressful on your body. And geez, I mean, I'm already very just willing to applaud his ability and awareness of his own body to actually realize this. And I think this is something that I've heard in my DMs quite a bit from people that have been on TRT,